Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Bears Den, presented by WARR Media and SportsZone Chicago. I am Saul Rodriguez, joined as always by my co-host Joe Tanksley, who you see on all of our Bears coverage, as well as Sean Sierra or Greg, whoever you know is for everyone else that knows him in Chicago's media out there. and of course, you can see him as one of the hosts of SportsZone Chicago's Sean and Maya. And today we're also excited to welcome back one of our many friends of the program, and Ken Davis, who of course is one of the hosts of the Under Center podcast at NBC Sports Chicago. How's everybody doing? How we doing, Ken? Thanks for coming on, man.
I'm good, man. It's great to be here with y'all, man. How you gentlemen doing?
Good. How you
More
doing, Joe?
importantly, how's Patty doing?
I'm sorry.
Always shout out to Patty.
Hey, and Sean, how are you today, man?
I'm good. I'm doing really well. I didn't got a lot of rest this morning. I didn't work out I didn't go to CrossFit this morning. I didn't like to work out, so I got to sleep
Not
in.
you, sir.
7:15. Shut the front door.
So was it some pull-ups? What was it you didn't like? Was it a lot of pull-ups or something?
No, running. I'm like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not running on concrete. You crazy as a mug.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Sean, I always see the workouts that you post, and I'm just like, I get tired just reading I just get tired reading the actual workout. I'm like, God dang.
Dude, it's nuts, man. But that running
how
stuff,
you do it.
running's for the birds, bro. Running's for the birds. No. Sorry.
What about you, Joe? You get a workout in this morning, man, or what?
You know what? No, I did not. I didn't sleep in. I was up early in the morning mopping my classroom because no one else does it. But we got it in there. We got it in. The room was spotless for the shorties. You know, so everything smelled fresh and nice, and it was a nice, clean environment for everybody to learn.
Right.
Hell yeah, you love to hear it. Hey, you guys, somebody's got to do it, as you say, you know. So,
right.
But yeah, I'm sure everybody's still
right.
Yeah. all the glue that's gonna end up in somebody's nose or somebody's mouth. Joe's like, right, Joe? I'm sure I'm sure you got plenty of stories, right? Of like some kid doing something with glue. And
you know what? We don't really have too many glue eaters anymore. Everything's more like sensory anymore. No, eating glue used to be a thing, but now it's more sensory. People, they like to rub it on their hands and touch it, and stick their fingers together and things like that. So yeah.
It's probably. I'm not gonna lie. I'll admit it's probably my generation, because I do remember a kid eating glue in one of my classes, like the ones that you squeezed out. He was like, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna stick to my crayons over here and sharpening my colored pencils. But anyways, enough of that. But I know everybody, I'm sure, is pretty high still on the draft, the NFL draft that happened last week. Still so many people talking about, whether it be Caleb Williams this, Michael Penix Jr. this, and we'll get into many things. But I do want to get you guys' overall thoughts on just the draft as a whole, because of course, overall it was a positive draft for the Bears, but I do want to get into the details of it as well. But overall, we'll start with you, Ken, as our guest today. How do you feel overall about how the Bears did it in the 2024 NFL draft?
I thought they did a good job. I would give it. After the first round, like, what can you really say? Like, they would have to crash the car. The car would have to hit a mountain, then fall over into a ravine, then explode, and like it just like so I really can't like get deep into like, all right, so they went and they got a punter. Now I do Big Ten country, so I've had to even focus even more on Big Ten football. And if you know anything about Iowa, and they had no offense whatsoever this season, no offense, period. So he's exceptional. We'll see what I have done it. I don't think this was the year for it, but if they think that was the move, that's not going to be my biggest, that's not going to make this draft an issue for me. I'll tell you, to be honest with you, my biggest problem is we had a civil war that took place, and I felt like we really couldn't enjoy. Like, this is more like, I'm happy it's over. I hope I never into the situation where I get a divorce from something, but this feels like maybe if you was in a real, and our old relationship was great for me. So this isn't what I'm saying. I'm talking about the Civil War. I'm so over it that I've been over it since like, man, I've been over it for a long period of time. So I didn't really get the full, like, yeah. My only thing that I was waiting for once Joe Alt was gone was, can we get Rome? Because if we didn't get Rome, I'm trading the fuck back. Right. Joe Alt, I love Rome, and I got the whole Rome thing, but I was like, man, if I get my hands on me some generational left tackle, give me oh, Lord, I know y'all want sexy sex, but this is sexy too, because we never have to worry about his backside. Like, if you don't understand how important that of course you want a good guard, but you don't. It's not even. It's important, but when you have a dude that we hope he projects, I'm referring to Joe Alt. It would have been hard for me to move off and not take him if both were there. So once Joe Alt was gone, and I'm just waiting for Rome. I'm like, man,
Rome. Player.
I'm worried. Exactly. I'm worried. I'm like, oh shit.
Atlanta.
Yeah. It was like, okay, so I'm happy JC, and that was JC Latham was the Darnell Wright of this draft, right? He was the guy late, the offensive lineman that was going to jump. He jumped ahead of Fashanu, and that's something, even though I think a lot of people weren't as big on him this year. He probably should have came out last year, but whatever benefits him was best. He still got first round money talking about Olu Fashanu. But still, I'm waiting for Rome. Interview Rome the day before the draft, right? Press them on, yo, what's it gonna be like if you here? He's like, we're not gonna come in we're not gonna come in timid, and it's gonna be like this. And I'm like, oh, you leaving it open. So you saying that y'all talking shit, like, we gonna do it. I'm paraphrasing. He did not say that, but that was what he was implying. Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
And so, yes, sir. I know. I know you have business. We all have to be professional as possible, even if it's, us at late night enjoying ourselves. But the thing was, you three gentlemen and everybody in the chat, man. And Sean, you'll get this when you're in the locker room next year. Dog, his head is different. And this is a small discussion. I don't know this young man. Man, I'm going to tell you, me and Rome be kicking it. Nothing like that is what I'm saying. But in that interview, I said to him, like, you know what? This is different. Because one, remember, now he's the alpha, but he still comes from a crowded receiver room in Washington. All right. He's not just at a school by himself. I'm the guy. He's had to do some sharing, even if he's the guy. Right. And I'm not. And I said to him, I'm not the receiver diva. All of it is detrimental. There reaches a limit where you be like, all right, dude, slow your roll down now. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I get it, but relax. So I'm not, attitude is where I wouldn't take him, but there's none of that, which is good. But we recorded today. We had Carmen Vitale from Fox Sports joined us. It'll be out tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. on NBC Sports Chicago. But Josh and I was talking, and I'll say this, and this is the first place I said it because and I'm not saying that it's important that I say it and I'm somebody, but Rome Odunze will own the city of Chicago if he plays well. Like, it's not even a question. He's the type of guy that we will really we will fall in love with him. I'm telling you that, because his head is screwed on extremely tight. And he's not a lame. And I'm not saying that, but like, and he's kind of playing it back. And I think he'll play it back a lot, but he's a dog and he's intelligent and he gets it. And he's a receiver. Like, we've never had that, right? Like, usually, even the best receivers we've had, they've had flaws. We've had a discussion today in office. And like, even with B. Marsh, and I'm not even talking about like other stuff, just even, look, B. Marsh was a nice receiver, but did not have pillowy hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, they like sweet, but even someone like a T.O., which is one of the greatest of the greats. But we're talking about a player who doesn't really have a flaw. So on the field, he's really going to do nice. But I think his personality, I think Chicago's really going to fall in love with his personality. So I know you said the entire draft. Look, with Kieran Agamandaji, we'll see. Listen, profile-wise, his arms are crazy long. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they're exceptionally long. It's irregularly long. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he's. And I mean, I haven't seen. I haven't watched him, right, Sean? I haven't watched him, but even in the brief clips you see he's on the ball of his feet. So he's not even like a plot. You can see he has agility, is but the point that I'm just trying to say. And the little stuff that you just look at his body, his long arms, agility, good size. We'll see, but I'm happy they put someone in there. But again, after the first round, no. So I text my guy at the draft, and I was like, so after they drafted Tory Taylor, I said, so they're gonna get back in and get a D lineman, right? And he was like, I don't think so, right? So I'm like, yeah, they now this is where I would have been a tad bit upset. I was like, I know they better go get a D, and there's no 3, so they better get a defensive end. So let me also say that there was no 3 technique at that point where you're gonna be like, we got to get him. It was Booker or Kamara, and I forgot there was one other cat out there, but you knew Booker was on their list. So when they got back in and got Booker, however, if I felt the way about Taylor, it was done because they got Booker, and all I was because I was like, dude, if they just spend a 4th, they can get a 5th. They did that, so I was satisfied, and that's the answer your question in the longest form possible. So how I felt about the draft.
Hey, Ken, you're the guest. You got all the time that you want, man. So appreciate it. But you're right, and I think a lot of people, look at, for example, the punter that they drafted and Taylor and all that, and see it, question that and all that. But overall, I think it's all positive. I think that's the way I see it personally. But Joe, I want to hear from you. What do you see overall from the draft that in your main takeaways of it?
With the limited resources that the Bears had in this draft, I think they really did a solid job. They got the best quarterback in the draft. They got one of the best receivers, and in the later rounds, they were able to get value with those picks. With Kieran, I don't want to butcher his last name, but Kieran from Yale, the offensive lineman, he was projected to go in the second round. They were able to get him in the third. The defensive end, Austin Booker, who they came back into the draft to get in the 5th round, he was projected to go much higher. And then we talked about Tory Taylor. When you project to have hopefully a top 5 defense, you're going to have, a rookie quarterback. You're going to have to play field position in some games, and, being able to pin teams and, in deep, that's going to be important. So I think big picture wise, I think Tory Taylor is going to fit into that special teams unit nicely. Not much to say, they did a solid job. They didn't try to outsmart anybody, which, a lot of GMs get in trouble for. They took care of business.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. And another thing is that Ryan Poles even mentioned that he was talking about, like, if they, if he was sensing that Adunze was going to go higher or whatever, then you would hope that Ian Cunningham was going to hold them back to not do anything drastic or crazy. They didn't have to, obviously, because Adunze fell there. So yeah, they didn't do anything that maybe was trying too hard or anything like that. But Sean, what about you, man? What are your overall thoughts on the Bears draft?
I was ecstatic. You got one of the best quarterbacks in the draft. You have one of the best receivers in the draft. The best punter in the draft. I mean, you got 3 of the top, players at their position in the draft. So, I was ecstatic. I was really ecstatic. And then when you jump back in to get Booker, I've been asking for a one. Remember, Joe, we were at Output.
Yeah, one-trick pony.
Give me a one-trick pony. Give me a Mark Anderson from 06. Just
How long have we been saying that? That's like, this has been like 5 years. We've been like, give us the Mark Anderson, a one-trick pony. We've been saying that.
Do not stop the running back. Do not slow down. Just go directly to the quarterback, and that's all you're going to do. And for his first year or so, that's all he needs to do. He's long. The dude can bend, and watching some of his tape after they drafted him, I watched some of his tape. Man, his ability to dip that inside shoulder is nasty. Man, his ability to do that, and he's quick with it. And, so he's going to have to, if he can maintain that, wow. I was really, I was so ecstatic. And, I was happy with the punt. And then I started thinking, the more and more I thought about it, I was like, man, imagine the teams that we play 10 to 20 times this year have to start inside the 10 or maybe even inside the 5. With this defense we have, let's make it think this is how you support your quarterback. Doesn't matter if it's a rookie or not. Okay. Because now you talked about field position, Joe. We get a 3 and out. All of a sudden, they got to punt again, and we get any kind of return. We're starting in plus territory. That's what you want from your offense. Doesn't matter if it's a rookie quarterback or not. But the fact that it's a rookie quarterback, it helps him because, man, now he's only got to go 47 yards. Now he's got to go 41 yards, 43 yards, okay? And you're almost one first down, you're in field goal range. So you're building confidence for your quarterback, and I like it. I like it a lot, you know, and I gave it an A. The one thing that I liked about Caleb, because I had his head coach, his high school coach, was one of my best friends from college. We were running backs together at Holy Cross. And he was saying, like, Caleb doesn't care if he throws 40 times or if he throws 15. Because I said, well, I asked him if he would have an issue if they didn't, you know, if they ran the ball a lot, which I hope they do, to take the pressure off him. You don't need the weight of the franchise on you as a rookie. You got a great running back room. You have great wide receivers. You have good tight ends. Use them. And he's like, man, he goes, Caleb has thrown 40 times in high school, and he's thrown less than 15. He said, and either way, he's more than okay with it. And that's exactly what he needs. So I love his leadership. You know, him you see the bond that he's created with Rome Odunze. He started at the throwing session, started on the trip at the airport, the picture of them in the airport. All right. And then they, you know, in the draft, you know, after Rome got announced or selected, he went to look for him. Remember, they found him in the little room where he was on the phone. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Rome Odunze, and they got all crazy, like, you know, like they were boys, you know, but that's leadership. That's what a leader does. Like, hey, damn, dude, it's here, you know, and that small thing, it may seem insignificant to many people, but it means a lot to Rome. Like, this dude came and got me, like, we've been talking about it, talking about throwing on an airplane here, blah, 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 and it's happened, and he came to, that's a moment. That's a big moment, as far as chemistry and friendship goes. So I think those two are going to be amazing. I think he's going to have one hell of a receiving room, and I think it's going to be, and hopefully sooner than later, but I think he's going to have one hell of a time using all those weapons downfield, because I hope they keep him short for the most part. Run the ball short. Of course, take a shot here and there. I'm just saying, I don't want greatest show on turf yet. All right, maybe toward the end of the year, next year we can do it. All right, but get everything down, get everything on the short to intermediate down, and that'll kill the game. That'll just kill defenses. So I'm happy with what they got. I'm happy, and again, to me, the biggest and the best acquisition in the offseason, Shane Waldron. Not because you have a play caller who knows exactly how to use a quarterback, how to maximize his strengths, and if he does this with Caleb, yeah, it's going to be pretty nasty for the rest of the NFC North. And the rest of the NFC North did well. They did well, but
they did.
It's going to be a dogfight. So I was all in all, man, I'm happy as a pig in slop. Oink oink.
Hey, no, yeah, I'm all for that, and you're right. And I think with Shane Waldron too, that it was reported today by 670 The Score. They talked about how, you know, it's been already, like, I think it was like 6 weeks ago, right, that they started getting Caleb Williams with Shane Waldron and the playbook and all that, and it's like get him acclimated with what he's looking at and all that, the plays and all that, which I think it's awesome because you got to prepare him in any way you can. You know, and compared to other Bears quarterbacks in the past. But besides the play on the field, I was actually very curious to ask you guys, how do you think, because obviously the Bears hope, of course, this is their QB1 for years to come, you know, but how do you feel about how he's handled these press conferences? I know he's only been a Bear for like 2 minutes, and there's a plenty of other, you know, frenzies that are going to happen, whether it be Hard Knocks or whether it be, you know, preseason or whether it be the first game of the season. But there was a lot of talk before the season about, you know, or before the draft about how he's going to handle the media, what type of player he is, or what person he is he cocky, all this stuff. How have you guys thought that he's handled these press conferences early on? Because in my opinion, I feel like he's turning a lot of heads in a positive way. Like, a lot of people are being like, okay, maybe he can handle it. Maybe this, you know, and I think that's the way I've heard, at least from some people that maybe had a little bit of a doubt. But we'll start with you, Ken. What have you thought about how Caleb has handled, you know, this introduction with the media so far?
I can go back to probably October-ish late. And I was on a friend of mine's show one morning. It would probably be around 10 something when I joined him. And I said, he's going to throw about 4 touchdowns one game, and we ain't going to forget about all this other shit. And I was talking about Caleb Williams, right, months ago. And this is a discussion that doesn't need to be parsed as far as everything that was taking place. I'll say this. I think a lot of times there was a lot of BS with this kid. There are things, if anybody says they don't like, I can't say that, man, that you're just this and this is that. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But when you find out that the kid had his own apartment in high school, dude, it's gonna be wild. And I wasn't like, it's gonna be wild. And I wasn't a bad kid, is what I was gonna try to say. But I just had to break myself back. I wasn't even a bad kid, but it would have been wild if you're telling me I have an apartment, my family's, it won't even have to be wild. I'm really just gonna be doing my thing to some degree extra with that type of stuff going on, let alone I'm supposed to be there focusing on football. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel as if perhaps distractions would have persuaded me away from my intention, and I wouldn't have been able to give what my parents was giving me, that freedom. I wouldn't have been able to totally fulfill it, because girls would have been a big problem. I'm just telling you right now, it would have messed all of that up. Dog, it wouldn't even have to be me being some nice looking young man. Let me tell a girl in high school I got my own plate. Dog, forget high school. I can go to the college girls, but got my own pad, right? And I'm the man, right? Like, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem, right? So then the kid goes, first of all, because we have to remember, we act as if he knew he was going to end up at USC with the Hollywood narrative. He went to Oklahoma because he wanted to be trained by who he deemed, we heard on the pivot, to be the best, right? And think about that. Think about initially with them with Lincoln Riley telling him, I don't know, you may have to be a walk-on. This is Caleb Williams, and you may have to be a walk-on. Most kids be like, dude, middle finger you, I'm a woo. He's like, nah, I'm going to come anyway. They give him the deal. They give him the scholarship. Then he runs down Spitzer Rattler, who we don't really remember who he was back then. We really don't remember, that wasn't supposed to happen. So then Lincoln Riley does the right thing, goes to USC to try to reignite another blue blood like in Oklahoma. Caleb follows him because that's the guy he wants to train him. He did so initially, even when we're saying Hollywood, he ended up there. But that part, dog, I don't know if y'all been in California before, particularly Southern California. All right. First of all, they don't care about sports nowhere near as much as we do. But let's just look at who's big out there at this moment. LeBron, now Shohei, right? Shohei. Then it's him at USC too. Right, like think about this year, like y'all know how California, like Los Angeles, feel about SC. You know what I'm saying? You'll say like, but SC football, right? And he there bringing and he got money, right? And he paid. Now I'm not talking about $100 handshake or out there maybe a $2,000 handshake. No, he got millions in NIL money. And what the hell did we hear about this kid again? I hope at this point, young Ken would have advanced, but probably would have had an issue or two, because that's a lot. All right. I'm just, and to get to the point of his press conference, I like that he's him. I like the fact that he made mention of jokingly, of course, you worried about me getting my fingernails, and I'm paraphrasing, fingernails painting, but I'm still taking your girl. I like the fact that he's not backing down from it, and we've never had this, right? It doesn't take away from if that's not who you are. I'd rather you be genuinely who you are. So if you are follow me by example guy, I'm all over with that. But I'm not going to use that to deter someone who may be like that, but also has a little bit of schmizzle. And I just made that up as I'm talking. Where did you get up? Yeah, that's schmizzle. He got the schmizzle, right? And I mean, and then us, and I'm gonna tell you the problem with us too. We've been beaten so much that it's like, don't stand up. No, now. And other teams are coming here and we'll fake bravado, like we're the Bears. But our friends, we still be like, oh, the boot's about to drop. Shit's about to happen, because it happens to us all the time, right? So when somebody stands up and was like, I'm not taking but we're like, hold on, calm down, right? But listen, let Shorty do him. He's doing it the best. I think he understands some of the conservative nature of this franchise, and he's trying to mix that in the line with that while doing him. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They pay your check. You know what I'm saying? So I like it, to answer your question. So I like that he's still like, and to Sean's point, everything Sean said was how they should do stuff. But guess what? If that ball starts flying, let's come back here doing this. The first time. What else? Let me finish what I was going to say. If that ball starts flying and they're executing offense and they start, and this goes back to, I remember me and my best friend at the time talking about D Rose. I think it was D Rose's second year. We used to look at D Rose as being more of a pure point guard, but he started getting that scoring. He got a little bit of that blood that, you can't let that shark or that get that blood in his mouth. And D Rose was like, oh no. And the next thing you know, he's the MVP because it was like, forget that. I'm a combo guard. Forget that. And so the point I'm making is let them start scoring. And it becomes natural. The speed gets closer. It's still not going to slow down to him as much this year as it will next year, and of course, the year following. But they got a crazy offense. If they can keep him upright, they like it's this, and it could backfire. But this is damn near full. This is unfair. And I'm not saying like Sean's point. I've said this today. This is the first time the whole NFC North has been competent ever. All right, like everyone can build. It seems like they're not crazy in roster building, and they're doing it in different ways. But usually you can be like, and sometimes it'd be us would be the suckers. A lot of times we would be us and the Lions would be the suckers, right? But everybody's kind of like, you're like, damn, what? I could talk about Jared Goff so much, but listen, as long as Ben Johnson is there, man, I gotta let Jared Goff rock. That's just the truth. And see me after Ben Johnson is gone, and look, Jared Goff may have been under someone who's taught him so much that he still may be closer to this version of him, even when Ben Johnson becomes the head coach, the offensive coordinator. For anybody that doesn't know, not trying to disrespect, not you guys, anybody in the chat or whatever. Look at dog. If Jordan Love doesn't even regress, let's just say Jordan Love stayed the same guy he was the last 6 games, we all in trouble. But if he takes us half a step, we all in trouble. All right, like that deep dog. First of all, Quay Walker. And that number 7 is one of the best looking things I've ever seen in football. And yes, I know it's in the past, but how it looks, his size, it looks, when I see it, I'll be like, who the hell is that? Right. And now you throw another dog like it that. So I'm sorry. And I just went totally off topic of what you said. Again, Caleb Williams is great. And I liked everything that he said to answer your question. So I apologize.
No, dude, don't even worry about it. Yeah, I'm all for him, man. But no, what about you, Joe? How have you thought of the way that Caleb Williams has handled the media and all that overall?
You know what? I think, he's done a great job. And I think he's changed some people's minds about, his approach and the way that he carries himself. He's very confident. There's no reason to duck, which was one of my favorite lines, no reason to duck. And I think, all the stuff that Ken laid out, he's essentially been pro since high school. That's the way he's been living his life. He's trained for this moment. I don't think this moment is going to be too big for him. I don't think he's going to get overwhelmed. I think he's somebody that's going to be able to handle it and take anything in stride. I like that. That a little bit of arrogance. Saying that that borderline arrogance. That's the thing that make other teams hate you. I like that. I like that. Because we've been hating
the other quarterbacks for so damn long.
Exactly. We've been the victim to it. Having people tell us they own us and own the city and things like that.
I hate how you talk. I hate how you walk.
Right.
Having Mark tell us they own us and we can't say jack spit back to them. Like, shut up, you're stupid. That's the only thing we say is you're stupid.
Right. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. I think, this is, the exciting part about this is,
oh, we lost Joe for a second.
The way that he's going to be able to handle the media. Hello? Did I black out?
Yeah, you're back.
No, you're back. Yep.
Back.
Okay, good. But I think, the way that he's going to be able to handle the media is winning football games, and Ryan Poles has done a great job of insulating him. Like, Ken said, it's kind of unfair what he's going to be able to come in with. This is the best situation for a rookie quarterback to walk into. When you talk about DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, you drafted Roma Dunze, you got Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, DeAndre Swift, you got all those weapons, and Shane Waldron, Kerry Joseph and Thomas Brown, to kind of mentor you along. I think all that is going to go play into the factor of how he handles the media, and I think you're going to put him in great situation into where he won't get a lot of that criticism. He's going to make mistakes, of course, but I think he'll be able to handle it.
Yeah, and that's true. That's a lot of people haven't mentioned too. Is like obviously there's gonna be bumps in the road, regardless of what it is. Nobody's process is perfect or whatever. And even people have said before, and they'll say it again, that he's not a finished product and he's got a bunch of stuff to work on. But like Ken said, everything around him, it's almost unfair how much is around him. That's gonna help him a lot. But Sean, in your thoughts too, what do you think about how he's handled the media? Because it's important for you. Because I'm wondering, Sean, are you gonna ask him any positive questions this year, like you did Justin Fields?
Yeah, it's what, he's handled it well. He's handled it well, but as Joe said, he's been in front of us. He's been in the spotlight, all right? From high school, it's funny. Like I still had on my phone the video that my boy, his head coach sent me when they won the state championship. Like, dude, that was so crazy, and I didn't realize it was Caleb. It was him and Olu because they were teammates. I didn't realize that it was them. But because it just obviously he was sending me stuff to show that he won the state championship. But so he's been in the public eye and front and center since then, and then obviously the Heisman last year, or his the season prior to this season, you're in front of the camera, in front of the media and everything, and you're in LA, and you win the Heisman, okay, you're USC, okay, well you're supposed to win it, then you get a lot more coverage. So he's handled it well. He's handled it well. You talked about the maturity level. I didn't agree with what somebody said in the comments, but regardless, his maturity level is pretty high. It's very high.
Justin's maturity level was high too.
It was unbelievable. We do not have to do that.
Like I'm sorry, Sean. Please finish your thought.
Yeah, like let him be. You know what I mean? Like he represented this city and the team with class
wonderfully.
All right, and even when the shit was going crazy, when he was asked to run like a madman, he never complained. He never did nothing. You know what I mean? So let him be. Wish him well. And and because I'm one of the biggest Justin Fields fans there was. Let him go, let him get developed, let him do his thing over there. I wish him nothing but the best, except when he plays the Bears. All right, or he could have 300 yards and they still lose.
I was just about to say, he have a nice game. He just doesn't have to win. He can have a good game. Because so my thing is this: never, and we're gonna do this quick because this isn't about that. Never compare their careers because this roster is totally different. They were tearing the team down during Justin's time. All right. I can sit here when I was talking about me coming on Sean's show earlier. It wasn't about Justin as much as it was about Justin didn't have the time and the weapons around him to sway them that this was going to happen. And that's the thing that I was saying back then, that this was coming. It was, and then when he got hurt, the time was gone at that point. Right. But we just don't have to sit here and act like maturity-wise. Like, no, that young man was extremely mature. And that's it. But I want to get back to Caleb with something, too. I'm going to tell you another reason why I like Caleb. I like both of these young men. And this goes back to the last Bears team that went to a Super Bowl. I apologize, not won a Super Bowl, went to a Super Bowl. That Bears team, and even when I asked them, they never tell me, they never agree with me. But I asked them, to me, it felt like y'all took being Bears different sometime than some of the Bears prior to y'all. I don't know the Bears outside of like when Peyton's time from the 70s. I'm talking about Walter Payton was a 70s Bear that was so good and it took care of his body. He made it into the 80s, if you get kind of the drift that I'm saying. But and sometimes I'm not putting it on the players as much because ownership sometimes seem to cause a lot of that friction. But even with ownership, when this was they just seem to think like this Bears thing is special. And I didn't feel like some of my years growing up that a lot of players kind of felt like that, right? I felt like Justin felt that. And this is what makes me like Caleb even more. The Bears didn't set Justin up to succeed. And he's like, I'm going to come in after him. And I know the Bears had to do a lot to make him okay with it. So I get that. But he gets the brand. he could have went home to. He could have tried to go to Washington, which I know we don't think. They have a big brand too. You know what I'm saying? That they have a huge brand out there, right? And he was like, "F the crib. If I do that stuff here, this is going to be, I will own the Nate." And that's what people, when we talk about sleeping giants, sleeping, because some of y'all may have not, and I know we got some people older than me in the chat, but just lived through, I was young enough to see the Super Bowl, and then just media before the internet, how a Super Bowl winning Bears team that won one Super Bowl took over the country for about 3 years, basically, or whatever. If you can, and I feel like Caleb,
the fridge had an action figure.
No, and it was dope, right? You look, you couldn't get that at the store. You had to order that joint, right? Like Sergeant Slaughter, you couldn't just go buy Sergeant Slaughter. You had to order that joint, right?
Yeah, no. Hey, Ken, and you know what? And as Joe was doing as you were talking, you know, just the fact that he gets the brand, it says it all with the claw. And again, I will say too, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, like he didn't invent this; it was always around." Like obviously, like nobody's really thinks he invented that. It's about embracing it. He's embracing it as a player, because some people were trying to like bring out pictures of like that super fan, you know, that always has the claws up. It's like, all right, as a player, he's embracing it. It's cool to see. So that's what I will say. And you know, as you guys have brought up Odunze a lot too, I'm kind of curious as to how does Rome Odunze fit into the Bears offense, because as we've said, it's stacked already. So I kind of want to see your guys' thoughts on how, you know, a talented wideout like himself, you know, who's got a great commitment, as we saw, you know, he's trying to get under 6'6" at the combine with those cones, and he was staying after and all that. But I mean, as you guys have mentioned, he's got a great rapport already with Caleb. He's talked to DJ Moore. How do you guys see him, you know, fit with this field, with this team on the field? You know, because we hope that even with how stacked this offense is, that the Bears can maximize his capabilities. I mean, I even saw Daniel Jeremiah on the Rich Eisen show say, quote, he's the best contested catch guy in the entire draft. So, you know, Joe, we'll start with you on this one. Where do you see Odunze fitting into this offense, and how the Bears will use him in this upcoming season?
You know what? I think with the weapons that they have, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, I expect Rome Odunze to come in and have a very nice, you know, rookie season. You know, you're not going to double cover him. You know, you can't with DJ Moore and, you know, Keenan Allen on the field. So he's going to have a lot of one-on-one matchups, and usually it's going to, you know, be against. It's probably going to be against the third corner, or somebody they bringing in off the bench in nickel or dime package. Yeah, I expect him to have some success. I think, you know, he's going to get a chance to learn from a veteran in Keenan Allen, you know, and Keenan Allen's, you know, back with his, you know, his old receiver coach. So there's going to be a lot of learning, you know, taking place. You know, he's already working out with those guys. So I expect him to come in and have a very productive, you know, rookie season.
And what about you, Sean? How do you see Rome Odunze being utilized in this Bears offense coming up this year? Oh, you're muted. Yeah.
The great part about it is that they're a lot of them are interchangeable. So if you see a matchup, like you can initially put, you know, Keenan Allen in the slot, which would be ideal. He's phenomenal at finding soft zones and soft spots in the zone. So now, and DJ Moore is excellent in man coverage. So you got a great guy versus man. You have a guy who's great in finding a soft spot in zones. All right. And then now Romeo, and as you talked about, you can't, there's no way on God's green earth you're ever going to think about double teaming him, because then now you're leaving DJ or Keenan Allen with one-on-one coverage. So you can't do that. So him being one of the best, or if not the best contested ball catcher coming out of the draft, is going to make him fit. So now you can put him in a slot if you want. You want to put him in a slot and get him in motion. And now you can't really get hands on him off the line of scrimmage. All right, and he's not 5'9", he's not 5'10", he's not 6 feet, he's 6'3", and he's in motion. It's gonna be tough to get it, and so now your defense is at a real disadvantage. So if you want to put Keenan Allen in the slot, okay, no problem. You want to put DJ Moore, and what about putting DJ Moore in motion as well as a slot and having him come off untouched? You know, there is so many different things that you can do with this young man. Okay. It's almost criminal. Like I don't know how Shane Waldron sleeps at night. Like he's probably come, oh, I got a great idea. Oh, I got another great idea. oh, I got, you know what I mean? Like there'd be so many different things and ideas and different packages for this guy and a different offensive package for that guy, different you know what I mean? And a red zone package, like you can use so many things. And we haven't even talked about the two tight ends. We're just talking about the wide receivers. Man.
I had your alley-oop. I had your alley-oop for that one.
You know what I mean? So it's again, this is an exciting time. It's a really, really exciting time for Bears fans. And it's man, not since the Cutler and Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Matt Forte, Martellus Bennett offense have we had, you know, studs at every position. And we got studs at every position. And now we got the stud defense to go with it. It's gonna be one heck of an interesting year. So I'm looking forward to it. And Rome is gonna fit right in because of his, you know, you mentioned Ken, he wasn't the only wide receiver in Washington. They had other dudes. All right. So he can adjust, he can adapt to, you know, being one of the guys, maybe, you know, not just the guy, I mean the only guy. He can adapt. Right. And man, to learn against two pros like that,
crazy.
That's a master's class, man.
That's the crazy. Okay, but also to the point of what you're saying, it takes someone who wants to have that education, and he gives, I'll eat that up. You know what I'm saying? He not even kind of or lip service. Everything that you hear is, he's the one that puts in the extra work. So now you're adding that to two different types of receivers. Right.
That was the combine?
Which what Saul was saying, as far as what you and ran all the drills, and then even the fact that he attacks the ball.
Yeah.
Like, how many times have we sat there on a Sunday and be like, dude, go back and get
the
ball.
Ball. Get the goddamn ball.
Go get the ball. What are you doing? Go get the ball, right? Dog, he attacks the ball. He doesn't even just attack it as far as coming back to the ball. He attacks it just when it's in the air. We're not talking about a body catcher. Sean talked about the versatility that you have. And so now you're talking about, okay, different types of DBs, their weaknesses. Sean talked about sending them in motion. Dog, do you know how easy it's going to be for Caleb to read what the defense is when all three of your receivers are a threat? So usually I may send the cat in motion. He may be the guy y'all worried about, but it may be just another receiver on the outside. Dog, you worried about all three of them. What are you in? Let me know. And how y'all going to do when I'm sending him over here? Like, dude, just what he can tell as he grows in this offense. But then in 12, dog, do you know that you can sit there with Everett, with Cole Kmet, with whatever assortment of these receivers that you want to throw out there, and you can play bully ball damn near. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where it's due. If Braxton takes another step, Darnell takes another step, if Tevin's healthy majority of the year, they get good play out of the guard, Nate Davis is straight. They're going to be and now look, I'm apologizing. Let me apologize. I was just going there before Jay Grizz. I said nothing about DeAndre Swift, and DeAndre Swift was so high on my grocery list before free agency began. I was like, dude, I understand everybody. They're not going to go and spend that money on Saquon. If they would, I'd be fine with it. But if you go get me DeAndre Swift I was like, bring me some DeAndre Swift, and they have dog. This the dump off. Just stop. It's gonna be hard, and that's why I when we're talking about the rest of these teams, and I'll get back. Let's toss it back to you. But we're talking about the rest of these teams. But you see what they're doing. They all are trying to see what each other are doing. I'm like, okay, I got you. Like, I'm gonna get some good linebackers because you're gonna be able to do a lot over the middle. You're gonna be a lot of that's where it's like you want to have an advantage, but then it makes it better because like we're gonna be battling each other. It's like, so that's again. Gives some of the fuel where it's like, man, this is gonna be fun. I wish we could just say we're gonna take over the division, but man, it's yes, this is gonna be crazy, as Ebony says.
Yeah, 100%. And just my little tidbit, and when it comes to how crazy and how people were talking about, because I've seen people like, man, the Bears are going to be used in Madden all the time and all this stuff. That's how fun they are. And it's like, yeah, it's true. Because I was using the Bears on Madden last year with Justin Fields because it was fun. And I had people that would like come into the voice chat and they were like, really? You're using the Bears? I've never seen anybody use the Bears. I was like, hey, yo, that's bogus. Come on. Like, it's fun to use Justin Fields. It was fun to use DJ Moore. Anyways, it's gonna be way more fun to use it for sure on there. But another thing too, when it comes to the draft, and you know, as you guys have mentioned plenty of the other guys, especially with Taylor, the punter that we got from Iowa. But is there any picks in particular that you guys see that aren't being talked about enough? Besides, like, obviously, besides Williams, Adunze, any other guys that you're going to see, and Taylor, I guess, since we talked about him as well. But for example, I'm going to take my shot at his name, but Karan Amagaji, or, you know, defensive end Austin Booker from Kansas. Like, any guys that you guys think are going to make an immediate impact that maybe people aren't talking about right away. We'll start with you, Sean.
I think Booker. I think he's going to be that one-trick pony. Like, you know, he's 6'4", like 240, I want to say. So he's not huge, all right, but he's fast. He's fast and he's bendy. His ability to dip that shoulder in a split second is, man, second to none. Now he's going to have to work on it because now these offensive linemen are better up here, okay? But, man, especially after the first couple where guys haven't seen it, yeah, he'll have a couple sacks. Man, just watching some of his tape, I think this guy's going to be a phenomenal one-trick pony for a while, you know, until he starts. And here's the thing that people forgetting. Coach Washington is one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL. All right, their defensive line coach / defensive coordinator. This dude's going to imagine he teaches this young man, Mr. Booker, 2 moves, 3 moves to go along with his explosion and his bendiness, and now he gets 2 or 3 moves that you know that you don't know if he's going to run by you and dip. Now you know if he's going to spin. Now you know if he's going to rip. Man, this is the upside of this kid is incredible. He's my guy that I'm looking forward to having 6-7 sacks, shoot, if not more, this season. And I think he's going to eat. He's the one that I'm saying everyone needs to talk about and really, really keep an eye out, big time for him.
And what about you, Ken? Is there anyone in particular out of those guys that you maybe like people aren't taking as seriously, or maybe just like not talking about enough?
It's always Austin Booker.
Yeah.
Like I said, they better have jumped back in this draft and got a defensive end. Particularly, he was one of their top 30 guys. That picture that you put up, who does he look like a slim version of that's already on the roster, right? And we know, like, that light skin too to go along with it, right? But like, imagine him 15 pounds of muscle bigger. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, this is a kid that did a lot of ticket Minnesota, right? And only had so many snaps at Kansas. A lot of people felt like he should have came back next year.
Yeah,
because his stock would have been higher, which we see is true. But he said, "F that. I'm ready to go to the next level." The thing is this. When you think about everything that we talked about earlier with Tory Taylor and about flipping the field and pinning offenses back, when now you can get into your NASCAR package where you're knocking DeMarcus in, and now you put this kid out on the edge, and you have Montez Sweat, DeMarcus, Javon, and now you have Booker. Now you're starting to cook with some grease because you're not asking a lot from this kid. I'm not asking you to identify what they're doing. I'm putting you in on clear pass plays.
Sick 'em.
Right?
Sick 'em, boy. Sick 'em.
It's nothing better. I'm gonna tell you, if you ever play football, particularly if you ever play defense or on the line, and if your coach just tells you just rush the quarterback, there's nothing that you want to hear more than just pin my ears back. I don't have to worry about whatever the hell that running back is doing. Like, don't worry about that. Just go, right? Like that. It's the simplest thing, and it's fun to do. And so for me, because they had, and look, he may not be the answer. Listen, in all fairness, the Bears, they shouldn't have let fourth quarter Justin Jones go. And Justin Jones proved that he wasn't capping when he said, look, they double teaming the hell out of me. If they give me some talent, I'm going to show you. He was fourth quarter Justin when he was by himself. When he got Montez Sweat, he was popping. Not saying he's a Pro Bowler. It's not what I'm saying. They have to have waves and rotations. And I understand the Cardinals gave him a lot, but it was one of the things that we were saying on Under Center. He was a guy that you should have kept. Josh was saying maybe they should have gave him another year. They didn't need to throw everything on Gervon Dexter right now, one, but also they still need more than 1-3 technique anyway. And that's what I would have tried to kind of hold on to him, because you're going to need that guy pressing up the middle. And we all are football guys, so we already know the shortest way to get to a quarterback. But a month ago, talking to Dwight Freeney, I asked Dwight Freeney, I said, you played with Booger McFarland. He's not a 3 technique. Did you ever wish you played with a traditional, just full-blown 3 technique? This is a guy that played with Robert Mathis on the other side. He basically said, hell yeah, right? He was like, I wish I had a guy that could basically force the quarterback out instead of the quarterback being able to step up, right? So it would have brought more sacks to him because the quarterback wouldn't have been able to step up. You think about what the Saints did with Drew Brees, where, yeah, the tackles was cool, but they was going to make sure center guard was nice so he could step up. But imagine having someone that's a destructor collapsing it. And again, I'm not saying that Jones was that, but he flashed at times, and it would have, even if Dexter took the job, it would provide you a fresh body at that position so you keep coming fresh. And that's where I think it may be a concern with the Bears as far as during this year, watch if they move one of those picks for someone that's a 3 technique. Because in some ways, Poles is doing the same thing that Eberflus he's done in the past. He's like, I got you, but you ain't got him yet. Because you're making Dexter have to do a lot this year. You're really banking on him, like letting Justin Jones walk. Now you're putting it all on Dexter to figure it out at 3 technique. And that's just a concern. And I know you asked me about the draft, but I go on rest when I'm on here, and I apologize again for doing that.
It's always bring you on, can't we? We get to the quota time right at, like, you know what I'm saying? We're all works out in the end. So, Joe, can you hear us? Mike's a little off. It's like clicking. I can't hear you yet. But no, in the meantime, hopefully, Joe, you can get that mic going. But I do want to use this as a way to go on to our next subject, which is the rest of the NFL. I wanted to ask you guys as well, because, and you guys have brought it up already plenty of times when it comes to the rest of the quarterbacks in the NFC North and what this means for, the Bears and just the rest of the NFC in general. But how do you guys feel about all the quarterbacks now in this division and what it means for the NFL? Because as Ken said, this is probably the best that the NFC North has looked, and how competitive it will be, because as you mentioned with Jordan Love, if he takes a certain step, it's going to be real tough for any team in this division to catch up. But Sean, how do you see what the Bears did in the draft, what the Vikings did with JJ McCarthy, what it means in general?
Talked about how this is the best situation that a number 1 overall pick who's a quarterback has ever stepped into in the history of the NFL. JJ McCarthy stepping into a phenomenal situation in Minnesota. Okay. You got Justin Jefferson. You got Jordan Addison. You got TJ Hawkinson. Oh, yeah, by the way, you got the running back that was spurned by the Green Bay Packers, who's going to get to face them twice a year, and who is a bear killer, is going to face us twice a year too. So what you're going to ask J.J. McCarthy to do is the same thing you asked J.J. McCarthy to do in Michigan. Get the ball to the playmakers, turn around, hand that ball off. Now it's Blake Corum, but now it's going to be to Aaron Jones. Okay, you got stud receivers, got a nice little tight end. Yeah, Minnesota is going to be much better, and I think that JJ is going to have a really good career because JJ can sling it. He just wasn't asked to do that at Michigan. Michigan had 13 guys drafted, the most of any school. The most of any school this year. They had a team. They had a squad. So now you're putting him in with a talented squad over there. They got Dallas Turner over there to replace Daniil Hunter. Yeah, it's a nice thing. Minnesota's going to be nice, and they may not be as powerful next year, but toward the end of the season, you'll see it. Green Bay is Green Bay. What do they get? Like 3 safeties, a corner, a linebacker. I mean, they loaded up on defense because they saw what's going on. And Detroit, they're the reigning champs. They're the reigning NFC North champs. And they got that kid from Alabama, Terrion. All right, that cornerback. Yeah.
No, they got that. No, I'm sorry. You're right.
Who did they get? Was it Terrion?
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And that dude's a dog. That dude is a dog. So this NFC North is going to be a dogfight, and I like it. It's probably going to revert back to the black and blue division back when we were kids. All right, where guys beat each other up and you come out of there, you're ready. You're ready for it. And it's going to be a physical. That's the thing I like about it. It's going to be a physical division, kind of like the AFC South with Baltimore and Tennessee and that type of thing. You know what I mean? And I like it. I love it. I love it. I love all young quarterbacks. Goff's not really that young, but you got 3 of the 4 are young. Goff still has Ben Johnson over there. It's going to be one heck of a very difficult division to come out of. And whoever does, it's going to be pretty well battle tested going into the playoffs.
That part.
Let's try one more time. Joe, can you say something? No. We don't hear you. Cam, while he's figuring that out, for you too, how do you see, the decisions that the Bears made, the Vikings particularly is the one that, people thought it was up in the air, but how do you see it all coming together, once the season starts?
My thing is JJ. I still think that with an offensive-minded head coach, and this is a guy that definitely likes to run the football and is a power run guy, but to totally go away from him in the second half to a degree still sticks out to me. There are concerns about him throwing to the left, but I think he's in the best position. I will say this. He's probably in a better position right now. I won't go talent-wise in Caleb, but they know each other in Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? So, and the head coach is offensive-minded, so they know the offense. So it's only him that's learning something new for the most part, and other players they're bringing in just now, compared to everyone's learning something new with the Bears. So that's an added benefit that JJ has with a guy that, when healthy, is the best receiver in the NFL, and Jordan Addison. Now, if Sean said this, and I blanked out on ethnic today because I forgot that Aaron Jones went there. My thought was like, I never thought why they thought Matson could take a. Dalvin Cook would have played for me last year if I was the Vikings, because 80% of Dalvin Cook was better than anything you guys had at running back. Like, he can't hit a home run. Guess what he could hit? 15 yards. Like, if you could get like, and that, I didn't get why they thought. Now I will understand this. If it was money, I would have cut him and still tried to get him to come back if that was me. But for them to think that Matson could take over and be the bell cow was crazy. So that, to me, really, outside of course Kirk Cousins getting hurt, hampered that team last year. And then of course Justin Jefferson basically didn't have a healthy season. But JJ stepping into a fantastic situation with nice receivers and a tight end, with a running back that's a quarterback's best friend, what he can do in the passing game, let alone, even if he's slim, he runs like a 250 guy between the tackles. Damn near. Like, listen, Aaron Jones is nice.
Yeah, we know. We saw him twice a year.
And Sean, and aging well. Like, he's like, if he's better now than he was 3 years, if health, like, he's aging in a fine wine. So yeah, that is definitely dangerous. Man, the division again, like I said,
he got the ball dreads though.
Yeah, nobody likes that. But the division is sweet. But you did say, now I think you asked Ashawn just in general the entirety of the draft, right? It's just because I want to get to that part. For me, listen, shout out to Fondo down there in ATL, looking out for us, taking care of us. We appreciate you. We appreciate, because you secured the bag for us. You made sure, dude, when I'm worrying
every year, man. You got a Christmas card coming.
Facts. Put him on the. It's not as high, but he on the Lovey Christmas list.
Yeah,
right,
right over there.
He's sending them out, dog. When you there and looking, and the draft is falling like it was gonna fall in January. Like, this ain't like you like, it's outside of Latham, but people saw Latham coming. Latham was coming, right? But you looking like, damn, Rome may not. What if they don't want to? We may not. Oh no, we're not gonna get Rome. Mind you, I said I was all in for but I'm like, I'm ready for Rome. I was in a Rome before talking to Rome. After talking to Rome, I'm doubling down that I wanted Rome, right? Plus, I want to because that interview now is evergreen forever. This is the day before the draft, and I'm asking you about the Bears. Hey, selfishly, but still sitting there. I'm sitting there and I'm worried, and then Fondo says, "Hold my effing beer. I got you." My man, dog, if you don't know, I said we had Carmen Vitale on the day from Fox Sports. Me and her have gone at it because this is me defending Justin. She was like, yeah, of course I got Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff above him. And I'm like, that's cool, and I get what you're saying. But for me, because I know who they are, for me, I like trying to find out who he is. So for me, this is better because I know who Jared Goff is to a degree, and I don't count on Kirk Cousins when it's on the line for nothing, regardless of what Kirk Cousins. Now listen, Kirk Cousins is a player. Don't get when it comes to that bread, Kirk Cousins is a player. Don't get it twisted. But Kirk Cousins would infuriate me as my quarterback. And that's the thing, is like he would make me so because he's getting all the money. And I know when shit hits the fan, he gonna wet the damn bed. And so for me, I'm like, I want to find out what Justin is, because with those two guys, I kind of know, even though Ben Johnson has Jared Goff balling the hell out. All right, like just being felt like sometimes I'll be like, yo, he is balling. I got to give him props on that, right?
Hey, Ben, can you leave for a head coaching gig now in the middle of the season, Mr. Johnson?
Hey, you keep that same energy, Sean, in case something goes wrong this year here. Keep that, because I'm going to tell you what job's going to be sexy as hell in the NFL, all right? And I don't think the Bears are going to fall on their face, but Flus, you better make sure it's straight, because that eject button, baby, it's gonna be hard and fast.
And Paul states the CYA to cover his own ass. Paul will hit that quick.
Quit. I'm out.
You or me. Sorry.
I gave you this year, right? And so regardless, I don't think that's gonna happen. But when they took Michael Penix Jr., who I'm a Michael Penix Jr. guy, don't get it twisted. I'm just not going to pay Kirk Cousins $100 million. I'm going off of guaranteed money, not what the contract is. I'm not going to pay him $100 million and take when my defense, look, their offense is sweet. That's why Kirk Cousins was like, I'll take your money and I'll take your offense, because they loaded, right? Maybe Kyle Pitts will be unlocked angrily as I shake my fist, but they loaded on offense, right? All you needed was Dallas Turner or somebody, right? Even if you wanted to if you want to overdraft Verse at that point, cool beans, get whatever. These fools doubled down and they got a hold of. Now, me personally, y'all, I'm gonna tell you, I'm just gonna take that punitive cap hit or that dead cap money from Kirk Cousins and try to get me a second or third, because it ain't never gonna be right in ATL, brother. It ain't never gonna be right. So for me, the Atlanta Falcons letting us all know crazy is still crazy, right? Like, whoa. First of all, I'm not a Kirk Cousins guy. You gave Kirk Cousins 100, and then Kirk Cousins, we all knew, and this is another thing too. Speaking when I'm talking my stuff, you messed Justin up from going home. This is what your ass get, all right? Because that block, as soon as he blocked Atlanta, shit went crazy. It was like, damn it, no, right? As soon as it was like, the Falcons knew, like, we don't have to trade for Justin. You should have. You would have been cheaper, but for that, so that is my craziness about the draft, that the Atlanta Falcons gave us Roman Dunze, because whoa, that was wild, man. That was wild. But everybody trying to make this stuff up about, man, it makes sense for them to double down on quarterback. Please, I was about to say something else. Please,
please.
It was gonna be derogatory. It was gonna be something Kendrick Drake to say no more. But
you needed help. Now's not the time to go developing a quarterback. Hey, Jay Grizz said, "Ninja, please."
Crazy. Crazy.
Oh man. Hey, look, Jay Grizz, this is what Jay Grizz thought you were gonna say right here. Oh man, but Joe, what about you, man? What did you think about with the Penix Jr., going to the Falcons? Because I had a lot of people, like, I remember, when you guys were watching it at Output Lounge and we're just watching, I'm sitting back and I'm like, what? Like, that's what they went with there? Surprising. But what were your thoughts on the Falcons situation there?
Hopefully you all can hear me now, but
Yeah.
I was holding my breath because if anybody was up for us, it would have been Falcons, but they screwed it up for themselves, and I was elated. To me, yeah, they would, draft Michael Penix Jr. at that situation, at that spot with Dallas Turner, where everybody knew that they needed defensive line help, they needed an outside edge rusher, and that's one of the the things that their defense was missing. I think if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm kind of scratching my head. It just really doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make sense. It's crazy.
real quick, I want to get back to what Ebony says right here. First of all, I'm happy that Kirk Cousins got his bread. I'm always players getting their money, and it makes it better that he got paid, that this happened to him. That's like, because at the end of the night, he basically saying, man, whatever they pay, because we all would. We wouldn't say it in public, but in private, like, man, we got that money though, baby. We got that $100 million, right?
We got $100 million.
The thing is this, Ebony, where it
trade
hurts.
me, damn it.
You have this is a thing where with the Justin thing was taking place. You were reaching a moment you were going to have to start paying Justin $50 million a season, perhaps, or close to that, right? Now, so this is just take away how you feel about anybody. You're not sure if he's your quarterback. Do you want to start paying someone that? Or I could reshuffle the deck and I don't have to worry for 5 more years and I could spend more money on other assets like acquiring a Keenan Allen because I'm not worried about the next year I have to pay that quarterback. You in this new NFL, after they've made it where you slot quarterbacks. So when we were 10 years, 15 years ago, Sam Bradford, maybe Matthew Stafford being the last guys that got quarterback deals when we were younger, where you can come in the league and get a guaranteed $50 million. You weren't slotted that. So teams would hold on to quarterbacks. Now you look at Josh Rosen, you look at all the quarterbacks outside of Trevor Lawrence in the 2021 draft. If those quarterbacks would have gotten old deals, they wouldn't have moved off of them because it would have been too prohibitive to move off of them. The point that I'm making is now, since quarterbacks' money is slotted, that first 5 years, and you mentioned Russell Wilson. I believe in the chat earlier, you thought Caleb is high key. Russell Wilson, he'll be better than that. But the point when you're saying Russell Wilson is the things that Seattle was able to do because Russell Wilson was on a rookie deal allowed them to win that almost 2 titles in that period. So when you're saying about Arthur Blank's money, we don't care about his money. It's just they can't play the rookie quarterback, and they're already paying a quarterback $50 million a season, basically. So it's like pick a lane that you're in, because now they can't spend money. If they just would have hired Penix or drafted Penix, they can go out and get the defense that they want. They can't do both. And that's where it's a problem, because it's not about do we care about the owner's money. It's a hard cap. You only can spend so much money. That's the thing. You can only, this isn't baseball where you can spend as much money as you want. Well, you used to, but still, but it's like that. So that's the problem with why we're bringing it up, and it doesn't make sense. Look, I'm a Penix dude, but when you sign Kirk Cousins, that doesn't make sense because you're not choosing the proper track to decide which lane you're going to do. And the worst part, that's what Atlanta's been doing by doing old quarterbacks and having these young players when they should have just, when Arthur Smith was there, Arthur Smith should have just gotten a young quarterback and tried to figure it out. And that's why his ass is an offensive coordinator for the Steelers.
But not only that, is like now you took an asset away from the defense that you really needed. Like you could have got a guy there who you talked about Dallas Turner, you talked about Jared Verse, you could have got Brian Murphy that you needed, and a guy that you need that would help immediately. So you want to help Kirk Cousins? Well, you already did that in the offense. Help the defensive side of the ball, and that would have been a big help to him. And that's what they didn't do. So basically, the draft it wasn't a wasted draft pick, but it was a wasted draft pick because this guy's not going to help the current team the way it is, because you're already paying Kirk Cousins. You didn't get him another weapon. You didn't get a weapon on defense. You got a guy who's going to develop. I understand what you're saying about Green Bay.
It's not because Green Bay drafted those quarterbacks at the back of the first round.
Yeah,
they were blue chip. They were but like, first of all, Brett Favre was an Atlanta Falcons guy that they got with the second round.
Drank his way out of Atlanta.
Alex Smith went first, and then Aaron Rodgers fell to the back end. So it's not, we keep saying that it's not the same, and you erode the equity that perhaps Kirk Cousins could build in Atlanta, because ain't nobody gonna be waiting for his ass to start. that motherfucker's gonna want to see Michael Penix get his ass out there. And now you got like you've created an issue you did not have to. So when people keep saying it's the Green Bay Packers, it's nothing like Green Bay had used a quarterback up that was still performing at a high level. This quarterback is coming in and nobody even knows him in the community. It's not that way. And when national people use that narrative, it's not a really good narrative to use when you keep saying it's Green Bay. It's not Green Bay whatsoever.
Yeah, no. And I think so many things are going around with, with this whole draft and what it throws off in people's narratives and wherever it fits in. But before we go, I do want to get your guys' thoughts on who won the NFL draft, because I know besides the Bears, because of course there has been plenty of people saying the Bears won the draft or whatever in this, but there has been other teams that people have been talking about, for example, like the Philadelphia Eagles, for example. But is there one particular team in that you guys believe won the draft besides the Bears there? We'll start with you, Joe.
You know what? The Bears got everything that they wanted, so they definitely won the draft. I would say teams like definitely the Eagles. Howie Roseman, always give some quality players to help that team. They just reloaded. They helped them load it, so they did a great job. Some other guys, like what Arizona did. We did with Arizona, who got Maserati Marv. A generational talent. Can't go wrong there. So, I would say those teams.
What about you, Sean? What other team besides the Bears do you think won this year's draft?
I still like the Minnesota Vikings. I like what they did. I really do. I just like the quarterback and the defensive end. I really like that. And unfortunately for us, Jay's is a good kid. One of my good buddies has been his quarterback coach since 6th grade. Unfortunately, it's in our division, and that's what stinks. Yeah.
What about you, Ken?
Ebony chose one of the teams I was about to say, and it's the Chargers. I can't sit here and say I wanted Joe Alt, and now you have bookend tackles for a guy that we know loves to. We're gonna throw the ball, but we're gonna power run you, right? And you look at that division, and how do you beat a Kansas City? You put Patrick Mahomes' baby goat's ass on the bench, and we're going to grind this out and slow this bad boy down a little bit, and we're going to pulverize that defense because we know that that's where you're going to have probably the least amount of money or, depth sometimes, particularly in the front seven. So that's one team. I agree with Sean, even if I'm not the biggest JJ guy, the fact that they moved up a spot to get him and we all knew he was going to go there, and we thought they was going to jump into the top 10. Speaking of the Vikings, and then you get Dallas Turner. Yeah. And this is the crazy part. We don't say this so much. And Brian Flores is their defensive coordinator. See, that's where Dallas Turner going to some places is like, yeah, okay, cool. Right. But Brian Flores, having him in zone, drifting back, the different ways you can use. So, like, if you get somebody, for instance, the Bears, and we like, all right, we run a 4-3, you got to put his hands down. Can he sit there and set the edge? Is the question for us for the most part, right? And probably first year, no. But you sit there now, you're not worried as much because you can cover it up with the different ways. You have a crazy genius defensively in Brian Flores. So, yeah, Minnesota's definitely out there. You mentioned the Eagles. The Eagles took care of what they needed to take care of. And then depending on look, you sit there and you got a Vic Fangio as your defensive coordinator, and you give him, and the pressure's off of him because he ain't go first. You give him a freaky ass dude like Cooper DeJean that at some point can be your out guard that tight end that can run the seam. I can place it like a jack of all trades when healthy. I like what the Eagles did, but look, man, you said I can't take home. I'm just gonna say this: all of the NFC North did a really good job, and that's
they
why.
Really did.
Like that's what it's like, and it'd be different if they did a good job and their teams wasn't playing better. Look, if Kirk Cousins was healthy last year, even with Dalvin Cook being gone from the Vikings, they would have had a better season. You know what I'm saying? So like these easy outs, and people like, for instance, the Bears have an easy schedule this year, and I get that they do, but within the division, it's not easy because, dude, you split with these guys, and that may be a good year right now with how, and that you don't want to split with all of them, but I'm just telling you, that's how well these teams are, and everybody and their mama has we got to see. But look, it's JJ's not even going to be asked to probably start. It's going to be Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is competent. Don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to say he's going to be the man, but you can use him for what you need to use him for. So those are the teams that I would say that I think performed pretty well when it came. But I think it was a lot of good teams in general. A lot of people they stuck with their boards and didn't get crazy and cute. And we used to see that a lot where people would be like, "Hold my beer, I'm about to show you something." And you really didn't see that often in this draft that you've seen in past drafts.
Yeah, 100%. And I think when you're talking about the Bears schedule and all that, obviously the schedule itself will come out soon, but the opponents, of course, we know, and a lot of people have been talking about, like it's easy to think, the 49ers prime time or, Texans prime time. And sure, I'm sure one of those will be prime time, but any of those NFC North matchups is going to be blockbuster now with the quarterbacks and all the talk in there. So it's going to be awesome to see in which way it goes and all that, what the NFL decides to do there. But I think that's a good place to wrap things up for this edition of the Bears Den. Of course, I want to thank Joe Tanksley, as always, for joining us, Sean Sierra, and as well as our guest today, Kent Davis. I want to thank everyone for watching as well on any platform that you were watching. Watch all our shows at SportsZone Chicago, whether, it be the Sean and Maya show. You got Second City as well. Check out all our stuff at WARR Media with At Bat, Slam Society as well. I want to thank everyone for watching, and hopefully everyone has a great week. Take it easy, everybody.